Accretive suspense. My grandson called me at 5 in the morning and said, "Grandma, whatever you do, don't wear your red coat today." I was surprised. Why? His voice trembled as he answered, "You'll understand soon." At 9 in the morning, I headed out to the stop to catch the county bus. But the moment I reached the spot, I froze. What I saw there sent a shockwave through me. The phone rang precisely at 5 a.m. I know the time exactly because I was already awake. I was sitting in my old rocking chair by the window in the dark, listening to the wood frame house creak, the furnace cooling, and the night slowly giving way to a gray dawn. At 63, sleep doesn't come all at once. It falls in pieces, like bread broken by hand instead of being sliced. The screen lit up and the dim light. Jelani. My heart plummeted. My grandson doesn't call at this hour ever. I held the receiver to my ear. "What happened, baby?" His voice was shaky. "Grandma, please just listen to me, okay?" I felt an immediate clenching in my gut. Not panic, but something worse. That feeling when you know something serious is happening, but you don't have the words yet. "Talk to me," I said softly. "I'm listening." "Don't wear the red coat today, please. Wear anything else, just not that one. Promise me." I automatically glanced at the coat rack by the door. Hanging there was my favorite bright red quilted coat, the one I had bought 3 years ago downtown in Baltimore. It was expensive, more than a senior citizen should spend, I told myself, but it was visible on the highway, visible on the back roads, in the dark winter. At least it felt safe. "Jelani, what are you talking about?" I asked. "Since when is a coat dangerous?" "Just promise me," he interrupted. "Please, Grandma, don't ask. Not today. Promise me." "Jelani, you're scaring me. Where are you? Are you all right?" A short pause. I heard a noise through the phone. It wasn't the house, the kitchen, or the television. It sounded like water nearby, a heavy echoing sound. "I can't explain. You'll understand soon. Just don't wear the red coat, okay?" His voice broke. "I love you." The line cut off. I sat for a while longer, the phone against my ear, and then slowly lowered my hand and looked at that bright red spot by the door again. The house felt different, as if something had been twisted half a turn. Outside, the first crows started calling. A passing pickup truck rumbled by. The night gloom was slowly being diluted by gray. I didn't wear the red coat. I pulled out my old brown denim jacket, the one I usually wear when I go out to the yard or the tool shed. The elbows are worn, the zipper catches, but it's familiar. I did exactly what Jelani had said. We as grandmothers have this stubborn, instinctual feeling. If a child or grandchild asks something like that, it's not made up. By 9, I was out. I walked the familiar dirt path from the house to the state highway. For 5 years, the intercity coach, which runs from our rural community to the county seat, has stopped there, at the bend. Tuesdays and Fridays are my routine. The bus at 9:15 a.m. to the market, the pharmacy, the community clinic, home by dark. I haven't kept a second car since my husband passed. I don't need one. My world is scheduled like clockwork. But that day, the bus wasn't there. From a distance, I saw the flashing lights. 4 cars. Red and blue strobes tore at the pale morning. The wind flapped the yellow tape stretched across our shelter at the bus stop. 3 walls of old corrugated iron, where we usually sat discussing the price of sweet potatoes and our blood pressure. I stopped dead in my tracks. A tall man in a uniform walked quickly toward me. "Miss Zora, you can't go any further." He held up his hand. "Sergeant," I whispered, "what in the world are you doing out here this early?" Sergeant Malik Adero, our county police chief, my high school classmate from over 40 years ago. The same squint, just more wrinkles now. "Zora, there won't be a bus today," he said quietly. "No bus?" I looked at my watch mechanically. "I have the market. I need my medication." There's been an incident, he said. He stumbled over the words, looking back at the people in white hazmat suits walking across the snow. What kind of incident? I asked. My voice was still steady. A body was found around 6 this morning. The world seemed to tilt slightly. A body? Who? No official ID yet. He looked at me again, no longer as an old friend, but as an investigator. But Zora, she was wearing a red coat, bright red, the spitting image of yours. My legs gave way. He managed to catch my elbow and guided me into the front seat of his police car. From inside, I could see the tape, the people, a white bag by the shelter, right where I always stand, where I should have been standing today. Are you okay? He asked. Wait, I said. Malik, Jelani called me at 5 a.m. He told me not to wear the red coat. He said that exactly. Malik's face changed. In an instant, the neighbor's expression became stern, focused. Repeat that verbatim, he requested. I repeated everything. How the phone lit up, what he asked, how he hung up. Malik pulled out a small notepad and started writing. Where's Jelani right now? He asked. I don't know. He didn't say. He should be at my son Akono's place in the city, living with him and his wife Naima. He's going to community college there. And then something pricked me in the chest. Was I sure? When was the last time I saw him? In the same professional tone, Malik continued, Sunday we had dinner, like always. I paused. Everything seemed normal, but lately at the dinner table, things were tense. My son Akono had been saying, Mom, you can't handle things alone. Let's move you to the city. We'll sell the house, buy you a condo closer to us. And Naima would sweetly nod along, unfolding her real estate brochures, showing charts and figures. It's beneficial. It's sensible. You'll be in the black. I listened and felt it. They weren't talking about me. They were talking about my land, about our home, the one where my late husband Elijah built the walls with his own hands, where Jelani ran barefoot through the grass. Ms. Zora, a woman in a severe blazer, approached me, her hair pulled back, her gaze sharp. Detective Opal Washington, County Investigation Unit. They told me you have some information. I repeated the story of the phone call. She nodded, asked for Jelani's number and the city address. Like an idiot, I told her everything. They tried to call him right then, subscriber unavailable. Malik's radio crackled. He turned away to listen. I saw his face darken. Say that name again, he demanded into the radio. Then he slowly turned back to me. Zora, the woman has been identified. It's Renata Morrow. She worked at the county records office in the city, he paused. And they found documents in the pocket of her coat. A deed for your house and land. What? I asked, very quietly. An official deed of gift, signed over to Akono and Naima, dated 1 month ago, with your signature. It's already registered. I gripped the car door handle so tightly my knuckles turned white. Malik, are you out of your mind? My voice was muffled, not screamed. I would never willingly give that away. The house, the garden, everything. Never. The signature is a very close match, he said cautiously. The document passed through the county assessment center. Everything's clean on paper. I closed my eyes. Naima's image flashed in my mind. Sunday. She was spreading some papers in front of me, right over my collard greens. This is insurance. This is the medical card. This is consent form. Sign here and here. I was tired. Honestly, I had left my reading glasses inside. Oh, it's just a formality, Mom. I filled out everything else. Akono was silent next to her, just nodding. I signed. I trusted them. I opened my eyes. They could have gotten the signature sample from some old paper of mine. Zora, Malik spoke gently but firmly. We need to sort this out. I'm not accusing you, but we have a body, A woman in a red coat at your bus stop, a deed for your house and land in her pocket, and your grandson, who warned you at 5 a.m., is now unreachable. Do you understand how this looks from the outside? I understood, and it felt colder than the February wind. What happens next? I asked. Next, you come with me to the precinct, you give a proper statement, we'll look for Jelani and we'll figure out how Renata Morrow got your deed. I was about to get out of the car when I noticed headlights out of my corner of eye. A dark blue foreign car was parked further down the road, past the line of trees. The engine was running and exhaust plumed in the cold air. Inside, behind the wheel, was Naima. My daughter-in-law was looking right at us. She wasn't waving or smiling. She was just sitting.
Attractive suspense. The only answer was the rush of water and the rustle of the wind. I stood before the dark entrance of the old mill, understanding clearly there was no going back. Inside, the mill smelled of dampness, mice, and old rags. I switched on the flashlight. The beam picked out fragments of brick, rusty metal, broken planks. The silence was so deep that every step echoed, as if someone were repeating my movements nearby. "Jelani?" I called louder. "Answer me, baby." The reply came not as a voice, but a rustle from above. Then a quiet, "I'm here." I climbed the wooden stairs, holding on to the railing. The steps groaned under my feet, but held. On the second floor, in a corner, sat my Jelani on an old, overturned crate. Thin, pale, eyes red, he had aged in just a couple of days, looking not 19 but 30. He saw me and jumped up. "Grandma?" His voice cracked. "I messed up everything. I'm sorry." I walked over and hugged him as I did when he was a child. "Hush," I said. "You're alive. That's what matters. We'll figure out the rest. Tell me everything. Don't leave anything out." He was trembling, but he started. 3 months ago, he met Renata Morrow at a coffee shop near the college. Funny, smart, a little older than him. She worked at the county records office. She listened as he talked about our house and land, how worried he was that Naima was pressuring me to sell everything. She said she understood, explaining, haltingly, that her grandmother had also been tricked and lost her land. She said she could advise him on how to protect my rights. She asked for copies of the documents to review. I thought she was a good person. I'm an idiot. Then he saw her with Naima. Downtown, they sat in a cafe for 2 hours, discussing something serious. When Jelani confronted Renata about it afterward, she just laughed. She said I was a convenient boy. His voice was hoarse. Naima had hired her even before they met, he said, to gain his trust, extract all the information about me, the house and the papers, and then help execute the scheme. He fell silent, staring at the floor. "And then?" I asked. "Then Renata decided Naima wasn't paying her enough." Jelani pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. She was bragging that she had copies of all the forged papers, the correspondence, the recorded conversations. She said she would bleed Naima dry for years, or if things went sideways, she'd turn everyone in. The paper was a copy of a bank statement. 2 weeks ago, nearly $400,000 had been withdrawn in cash from Naima's account. For the hit, Jelani said dully, or for the person who got rid of Renata, or both. I looked at the numbers, feeling a familiar heaviness under my ribs. That kind of money isn't withdrawn for a simple business deal. "But why did she wear my coat?" I asked. Jelani rubbed his face with his hand. "On Sunday, when we were at your place," he said, "Renata stopped by. You went to the kitchen. Naima and she were whispering by the entrance. Renata stole your red coat from the hall. Then yesterday morning at 5:30, Renata called me. She was crying. She said she was going to the bus stop near your house, wearing your coat to wait for you and tell you everything, give you the proof, but she was being followed. She was scared. If anything happened to her, I was supposed to warn you not to go out in red." Then there was a noise and the connection was lost. He sniffled. "I wasn't fast enough," he whispered. "I only managed to call you at 5, that's all." I took a deep breath. She wanted to clear her conscience, I said, but she ran out of time. Jelani reached into his inner pocket. I have a flash drive. He placed the small black rectangle in my palm. Renata gave it to me 2 days before, said it was insurance. It has copies of the deeds, her messages with Naima, recordings of conversations. I opened some of it. There are forged power of attorney documents in your name. Deeds where you supposedly sign everything. There's correspondence where they discuss removing obstacles after the paperwork is finalized. And there are also... He hesitated. There are letters about our police officer. Which officer? I immediately was wary. Renata wrote that Naima was paying a man from our local department to push through the bogus deeds, turn a blind eye, and clean up the loose ends. She doesn't name the person, only our guy, at the department. A chill ran down my spine. There's also a folder, he continued. It's encrypted, and a video that won't open. Renata said that's the most important part, but I don't have the password. I tried. It's okay. We need to give this to Malik, I said. Let their experts pick it apart. Grandma. Jelani grabbed my hand. It says someone local is bought off. What if it's him? What if we hand it over and the flash drive disappears? I was about to answer, but a door slammed loudly downstairs. Then heavy footsteps on the wooden stairs. Not one person, but 2, maybe 3. We simultaneously switched off our flashlights. In the darkness, a faint light spilled into the doorway. A familiar uniform appeared on the threshold. Mora, don't be afraid. This is Lieutenant Kendall Jenkins. Sergeant Adaro asked us to check the old mill. Your son reported you missing. We're looking for you. His eyes darted around. His mouth smiled, but there was no warmth in that smile. Stop right there, I said. Don't come any closer. He took a couple of slow steps forward. Everything's fine, softly. We're just checking in. We were told you might have come here. Your safety is our priority. Behind him, 2 shadows flickered. I only needed the silhouette to know they weren't your average patrolman. And then Naima stepped out from behind him without her sleek fur coat and perfect hairdo. Her hair was pulled back, her face bare, wearing the dark jacket and boots. Completely different, real. Hello, Miss Zora, she said calmly. I asked you not to cause a scene, but you never know how to do things simply. Jelani stepped between us. Get away from her, he said. Don't touch her. Jelani, Naima shook her head. You let us all down, but I kept hoping until the last moment that you wouldn't wade into the mud deeper than necessary. You killed Renata, he gasped. Oh, she sighed as if at a child's foolishness. I didn't kill anyone. I'm afraid of blood. Actually, that's what people who get paid for it are for. She looked at me. But Renata genuinely made a mistake. She confused who was in charge here. Her voice became businesslike. Let's dispense with the theatrics. Jelani has something that belongs to me. The flash drive, the documents. You silently hand everything over now. We sign one clear agreement and you live out your life in the house like a decent human. Or you continue playing detective. And then, she didn't finish, but everything was clear. And then, I asked, then you're in a car accident tonight? Jenkins said calmly, slippery road, age, no court would be surprised, and the house and land are already not yours legally. He spoke matter-of-factly as if reading a protocol. Naima smiled slightly. Think about it. You're alone. We are not. The police aren't officially here except for us. Time, snow, the river nearby. No one would be surprised. I felt Jelani's palm grip mine even harder, and suddenly everything inside me became very level. You've made one miscalculation, I said. And what might that be? Naima narrowed her eyes. You think I'm an old fool? I lifted my phone. The screen was glowing, a red dot indicating recording. I turned it on as soon as you came up, I added. Everything you've just said is no longer just between us. It's on a cloud backup. Naima flinched. Jenkins took a step forward, his hand sliding smoothly towards his holster. and then the door to the floor burst open from a violent kick. "Hands up, everyone," roared a familiar voice. Malik Adaro, wearing a ballistic vest, tumbled into the hall. Behind him, two men in black with tactical gear. More people followed. Their guns were lowered but ready. "Jenkins, don't even think about it," Malik said. Gun on the floor. The lieutenant froze. Then he slowly extended his arm sideways and dropped the weapon. "Sergeant Adaro, this is a misunderstanding," he stammered quickly. "I came out here on your verbal order. I wanted to—" "I didn't give you any such orders," Malik cut him off. "And yes, we heard it all." He held up his phone. "Ms. Zora is a smart woman. 10 minutes ago, she sent me a voice message, where she was going, who she was meeting, and what to listen for. We listened. From the threats of the accident onwards, it's all recorded." Naima's face seemed to contort. "You have no right to do this," she began. But one of the tactical officers was already carefully twisting her arms and snapping on handcuffs. "This is an illegal detention," she shrieked. "I'm calling my attorneys." "You can call them from county jail," Malik answered calmly. "Try explaining to them why your police buddy was planning the murder of a witness and why your friend had a forged deed to that very witness's house in her pocket." Jenkins mumbled something about not knowing that he was just providing security, but he was already being led away. Jelani was shaking. I sat back down on the crate because my legs felt like jelly too. Malik came over and sat beside me, human to human, not official to citizen. "Zora, you're true to form." He smiled wearily.
Attractive suspense. She didn't just fall from the sky. Before she was Morrow, she was Verena Harrington. I nodded toward the printouts. The granddaughter of Marguerite Harrington, the one whose homestead in the Red Pines area burned down after a cell. Jelani was already typing. "Got it," he said after a minute. "Verena Harrington, then a name change, a move. Marguerite Harrington left her the land, then a refusal of inheritance, then a legal dispute. Then everything drifted to Summit's entities. The homestead has been tied up in a dispute for 6 years. A legal swamp," I said. "Can't touch it, can't sell it, but outsiders won't go near it either." "If Renata wanted to hide something for a long time," Jelani said quietly, "you couldn't find a better place." I stood up. "Get ready," I said. "We're going to Red Pines now." Okuno jumped up. "Mom, it's already getting dark. The roads." "Naima has exactly 24 hours to think about it," I interrupted him. "Do you think her people will sit around until morning? If she believes there's another storage device, she'll send someone there. I want to be first." "We need to warn Malik," Jelani said. "Just a quick note." "We will warn him," I nodded. "But we're leaving now." I picked up the phone and quickly dialed Malik. "We're going to Red Pines to the old Harrington homestead. There's reason to believe Renata's stash is there. If you don't hear from me in 3 hours, mobilize everyone." He answered immediately. "Are you crazy? I'm sending a patrol car after you. No heroics." "No one's being a hero," I muttered. "I just don't want to wait until I'm a vegetable." 20 minutes later, we were speeding down the dark highway. I was driving the old tracker. Next to me, Jelani had the laptop on his knees. In the back, Akuno was silently gritting his teeth. In the distance, at a respectful distance, the patrol car kept pace. The sky was overcast and snow began to fall in fine dust. Headlights picked out snowdrifts, black tree trunks, and sparse road signs. "Grandma," Jelani said quietly, "what if there's nothing there?" "Then we'll think of something else," I said. But I've lived too long to believe in such coincidences. Renata wasn't stupid. She knew Naima would eventually betray her and left a thread for someone. "For who?" Okuno asked. "For whoever survives," I answered. "We'll see if we survived." After an hour and a half, the dark shell of a burned house and the silhouette of an old shed appeared against the white field. I cut the engine. The wind whipped the snow across the ground. The air was damp and biting. The patrol car stopped a little distance away. "Well," I said, opening the door,
Let's go find the thing that made one woman a killer, another a corpse, and made them decide to label me as crazy. And only as we got closer to the shed did I notice fresh tire tracks on the roadside, not from our car and not from the patrol car. Someone had already been here before us, or was following close behind. The shed in Red Pines looked like it was held up by a wing and prayer. The Harrington house had burned down to the brick, a black shell, empty window sockets. But the shed was leaning gray. Planks were missing in places. The roof sagged, but it stood, like a memory no one needs, except for those who know what's hidden inside it. We went in. It smelled of old hay, dust, and dampness. The flashlight beams swept across empty stalls, rusty tools, and cobwebs. "Where would you hide your last words, Renata?" I murmured. Jelani shone the light on the walls. Akuno hovered closer to the door looking around. "Grandma, everything is rotten in here," he whispered. "Mice and squatters could have gotten to it." "Be quiet," I said. "Don't interrupt my listening." I walked along the stalls, running my fingers over the wood, and suddenly I saw it, carved with a knife on one partition. Starlight. For a second, I didn't understand. Then Jelani flew over, examining the inscription in the flashlight beam. "That's her horse," he said. "The article had a picture, Renata as a child on a gray horse named Starlight. So this was her stall." I crouched down, touching the board at the bottom. One plank moved as if it hadn't been nailed all the way down. "Hold the light," I said. I pulled at the edge. The board came away. Behind it, a narrow opening, and in it, a tightly wrapped plastic bundle. My heart lurched. I carefully pulled it out. Inside the plastic was a small metal box, and inside that, a flash drive and a folded piece of paper. Jelani unfolded it. The handwriting was shaky, angry. "If you are reading this, I have either completely messed up or I am dead. Naima Famasi destroyed my grandmother and forced me to help her. I collected everything so that one day I could sink her. Here are the originals, recordings, deeds, money transfers, the scheme of payments, the real names. The password is Starlight997. Don't believe any document she presents. Use this or she will continue." Signed, Verena Harrington. Jelani stared at the flash drive as if it were a hand grenade. "This is it," he whispered. "It's all here." "If it's real, I said. "It has pain and anger in it. That's not something you fake for a game." The sound of an engine drifted in from outside. "Not just one, several." We exchanged glances. "Back," I said quietly, "into the shadows." We retreated to the back of the shed. Through the cracks in the planks, we could see 3 cars pulling into the yard. One was Naima's familiar white Lexus, the second a black sedan, the third a van. The headlights went out, doors slammed. The wind carried their voices. I managed to shove the flash drive into my inner pocket and snap the small box shut. Naima appeared in the doorway of the shed. The mask of concern was gone. Her face was hard, her eyes cold. Next to her was Preston Minton, as neat as if he were in his office, but without his smile. Behind them were 2 broad-shouldered men. I'd only seen guys like them in the news. Not hunters, not farmers. "Mrs. Zora," Naima's voice cut through the cold air. "You're getting ahead of yourself. This is private property. You are currently engaged in theft and trespassing." I stepped forward. No sense in hiding now. "This is the Harrington family property," I said. "Your private property is still tied up in court. And what are you doing here?" "I'm the executive of the will," she answered clearly. "Everything is legal, and this is the second time you've broken into a place you weren't invited, and the second time you've provoked a dangerous situation. That looks very bad for your reputation before tomorrow's hearing." Minton nodded, as if confirming a legal reference. "Let's put it this way," he said softly, in his familiar lawyer's voice. "You have a certain storage device. We offer to resolve this civilly. You hand over everything you found and stop this charade.
In return, we guarantee you a peaceful life. A peaceful life? I scoffed. In a locked ward? Don't exaggerate, he said wearily. You are not in a position to negotiate. Jelani steps forward, but I held him back with my hand. What we found here does not belong to you, I said. These are the words of your Renata, the woman you used. And judging by how quickly you rushed out here, you are very afraid that those words will be seen by the wrong eyes. Naima smiled. You overestimate yourself, she said. And the flash drives. All the really dangerous information has been under control for a long time. What you're holding is garbage, but what you're doing is a crime. I'm giving you one last chance. Hand it over, and we'll go our separate ways. The two broad-shouldered men took a step closer. The patrol car was not visible outside the fence. I noticed it and set the panic aside. Just one thing, I said. Do you still think I'm an old woman who doesn't know how to use a phone? I pulled out my mobile, turning the screen toward them. The red bar was visible, broadcasting in progress. I turned on the live stream as soon as you arrived. I said, everything you are saying is already being listened to at the precinct, at the county office, and at a couple of news desks, plus a copy on the cloud. So if you take one step closer to me right now, it will look very good in court. The corner of her mouth twitched. Minton spun around at a sound. Somewhere far away, sirens wailed. Are you bluffing? He hissed. You'll check for yourselves in a couple of minutes, I replied. One of the goons stepped forward, but Naima raised her hand. Stop. She looked at me with such hatred that anyone else's legs would have buckled. I'm tired of her stares. You don't understand who you're messing with, she said quietly. You are destroying a business we worked on for years. The people involved with us will not forgive you for this. The people involved with you, I said calmly, will soon be deciding who gets the top bunk in prison. The sirens were closer. Several cars simultaneously burst into the yard, flashing lights, black tactical vests, shouting, Freeze! Everyone! Malik's voice, Don't move! One of the officers blocked the exit. Others instantly spread out across the perimeter. Everything was executed like a movie, only colder and quieter. Naima Famasi, Malik said loudly. You are under arrest on suspicion of organizing major fraud schemes, forgery of documents,